Amr Abdoun, or Amr Abdoun, as I like to pronounce it. 3 months ago, we started recording these podcasts. I think it was 3 months. But instead, it's funny because Adam, as he was setting us up here, he said, I read the instruction manuals and take care of it. When I did my first one, I actually read all the instruction manuals and I took care of the setup, and it was with Andrew. But now we're 3 months in, it's like I've forgotten what I learned 3 months ago. It's like there's only enough space in my brain. I really mean this, to deal with what's right in front of me sometimes. And it's like I've forgotten that. But then what I also observe is I'm a person that starts it, and then I am surrounded by these deeply competent people. I mean, really competent people who kind of pick up where I've started, and then they just do a better job. And that's what you just saw with the setup there. Adam, he's unbelievable. Like, I'll start, and then he'll go and do some research, and then just show me how to do it better. And that's why you see this setup now, because he's like, use GarageBand, have the microphone here, just a real attention to detail. It's he's really good at. So I don't know, but I think that's what's on my mind with you, actually. And this comes to nice glass of water. My team on site. So I should do an intro. Amir, you're on site for us at Palion. You feel like you're one of the family, even though we met through a work connection. I feel like I've known you for ages, and it comes on to some of these themes that we were talking to just before we jumped on. And that is your predisposition for competence or delivery, to show competence as opposed to saying you're competent. You do, which is high action orientation. And it's rare that my technical teams go, now that guy is, or girl is amazing. We should do whatever it takes to keep them as one of us. And you've done that with our guys. They're really impressed, right? I mean, not that they're the benchmark of being impressed, but you have. And that's what we were talking about before you came in.
It's mutual. So yeah. It's been a pleasure working with the team. And also, one of the things I've noticed, and I don't know if it's something that is deliberate in getting the team together. The whole team is, in a way, very calm. Mm-hmm. It's a common theme with everyone I've worked with so far. Everyone is very calm. The focus is on the delivery more than anything else. Mm-hmm. Easy going, dealing with problems as, we have a problem. Mm-hmm. What is the situation? Mm-hmm. How do we fix it? I don't want to say low maintenance, but it is. It's easy to deal with. Mm-hmm. And it's something that is, I think it's very important that you need to worry about the problems that you get, not how to deal with the people you're working with to mm-hmm. get things done. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's reassuring when you know that you have a team that has your back and mm-hmm. you can rely on them, and it's not going to be a struggle just to get people aligned on what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. So they're calm, they're focused on delivery, they're low maintenance, they've got your back.
And also understanding the business value of what we're doing. So even though we're technology, mm-hmm. but at the end of the day, our role is to deliver business results. Our mm-hmm. role is to serve the business. Mm-hmm.
How many, you're in as a consultant, but the consulting part of the business is obviously using our special projects division. So how many of those are you working with? There's like 4 or 5 or I don't know, 3? Who have you got? You've got Adrian, Dan, Mark Shrugardis is in there, is he?
So we have Adrian, Dan, Mark, Martin. Mm.
Yeah, all right, so you got 4 of them. I mean, they are 4 or 5 of the best people, right? So yeah, they really know their stuff. Yeah. And so, there's definitely something in that. It's one of the things, again, another thing I noticed, you're quite egoless. I mean, we all have ego, right? That's why I've been on my muscle chef diet, which I'll come to in a minute. So we all have an ego. But how do you, when you have people at the top of the game, what's your observation on how you keep that in check? How do you divide roles and responsibilities when there's all crossover, right, for bits and pieces? How's that How does that work? What's your observation?
Luckily, in this engagement with this team, I didn't have to struggle with this at all. It's maybe it's still honeymoon phase, maybe. But I didn't see that with any of the team members, or even the management on the client side. I didn't see anyone with the mindset that I need to manage someone's ego or expectation or how we engage. People are eager to help in whichever capacity they can. You can be in one project acting as the program manager, but in a different project at the same time you're working as one of the team delivering a piece in the work, and you need to keep your focus that, all right, in this engagement, this is my role, get it done, move on.
Do you think that's so the tech leadership under Simon Smith, but then you've got the business side leadership as well, and I don't know the business. Do you think that's, that they back to your thing about calm, focus and delivery, low maintenance, do you think the business are now seeing that so it instills a sense of confidence, as well as them being a deeply pragmatic business? Because they are, right? They're a practical business. They're in... I know there's an e-commerce aspect of it, but there's also the refinery part, right? So do you think that's why it's that unique combination of customer approach and style plus competence of team that's creating that ecosystem?
I think so, yes. And again, luckily on the other side of the table, from the business point of view, the business owners are as calm and pragmatic and open to listen. And because of what we've done over the last 3 months, they're more receptive now and more trusting to listen to what we're saying, because they've seen in a very short period of time delivery that happened, and they've seen a different kind of response in the business needs and issues that they've been facing.
I guess one of the things on here is I want to learn, right? I like doing this because I learn, and I acknowledge I put people on the spot sometimes, but I find it fascinating, which is back to something you saw me say recently, that I feel like I've learned more in 2 years than I've done in 20. But I wonder if it's because I'm putting myself in the space of different personalities and absorbing from them what they do. And so I'm going to repeat what I've heard. And there's a theme that we were talking about before we jumped on air. I'm hearing that to show, not to ask to be recognised, but to show competence through delivery and action is your demeanour. And then, so through competence and delivery, but then the second part is to show results quickly. It's interesting because when I show competence, deliver results quickly, when I start talking about problems with people, they always want to overcomplicate it. Always, not just the issue at hand, but then I really want. They'll start with I want A solved, but then I want A and B and C and D and E, and then half the battle is bringing them back to why don't we just start with A? Let's start with the first thing first. How do you when the business wants everything done at once? How do you bring them back to accepting that it's okay to just start with A? If at all, I don't know.
No, it's a very important point. And I've seen this throughout my career. When it comes to the mindset and the communication between the business team, business needs, and technology, usually you would have a bit of a disconnect between the business the business team who would see the market in a certain way, and they see their business objectives, and they're relying now on the technology to help deliver this. It happens a lot that the business team would want everything, and they want it now, and they want it cheap. And in a lot of cases, the technology team would be looking at, now, we want to build the best solution possible, the most robust architecture, scalable, and they would put more focus on delivering the technical solution than the business values. And I think I was lucky to be sitting at an early stage in my career in the middle. So I always saw the gap in a way with this communication and objectives. And I tried my best to try to bridge that gap. Try to understand as much as I can what is the business need? What is the objective? What are the top wins that we can help the business get? And work backwards from this. If I see that there is a solution that is not 100% the best possible option from a technology point of view, but it would deliver high value for the business in a quicker time, then I would be an advocate for this. And after a while, it happened that whenever I'm dealing with the business team, they see now the value of technology, not just taking whatever they're asking for and running with it, but coming back as a partner and as a consultant saying, why are you doing this way? What is your objective? How about we do it in a different way? And we work together as a team to deliver what you're looking for. Once you get this relationship going and once you actually deliver and they see that you managed to deliver the business value that they're looking for, and you have the focus, not just I'm technology, this is my area. No, we're partners and we're trying to reach the same thing. Then it's a different relationship.
So that creating mutual understanding and a partner focus is also part of it. So you've got the competency, you have deliver wins, but then culturally creating an attitude or a view of the partnership. Yeah, right. Sorry, let me turn my notifications off there. I'm obviously very popular, people trying to get through to me. Okay, so you mentioned a little bit about being lucky enough to be between the business and technology, and that gives you the insight. You know, you have a background before you came and joined us in CTO roles. You have project delivery in your background, software engineering. I know I thought, for some reason I had you rigging towers and telecommunications back in Egypt, but obviously I got that wrong. So, what's the arc of career for you? Like, I think I've said it right, but software, project, CTO-ship, because you were a CTO in your last gig. Like, what do you enjoy most, do you think? Like, what's the stuff that really motivates you to keep going with this work? Yeah.
One of the things that usually get me going is when I see that there is an area for transformation, whatever that is. If I see that there is a big room for business improvement supported by technology, I'm interested. I'm very interested, and regardless of what the context will be, I'm happy to jump in and help.
Yeah, right, okay.
I was actually surprised, completely different path, but the first engagement that I had with this account, it was more of data migration stream that was struggling a little bit and needed help, so I switched from management into going back to writing code, and I enjoyed it. I worked, the first few weeks, working late nights, all weekends, but I was enjoying so much, something that I haven't done for years. Bit rusty, but got it there.
Yeah.
But the thing that motivates me is there's a challenge. There's a business value at the end of that challenge. I'm interested. If I have that situation, whatever the context is, I'm interested.
Yeah. Do you think? I mean, when we met you, you weren't the brief. You know, it's not what Simon asked for. But I really like people that can play out position, to make it a sporting analogy. Because I think I'm one of those people. I play out position. People are actually, you know, when we're hiring, I think people are very guilty of wanting, you know, having a vacancy that they describe in normally boring, lengthy detail. But that stops them looking at the capability of people. You know, the human and everything that they can do, and I think it's a really interesting case study in that. And Palion and Simon are brave enough to go, well, this is what we think we need, but we trust you to give us what you think is the skill set that can help us on this journey. And I think it's just such a wonderful case study. I really wish leaders and employers, but leaders would be that brave more often. I think that, you know, I don't know quite what it is. I don't know whether it's biases or discrimination or or fear or risk, or I mean, you've hired people before. Like, well, why is it you think people try and hire within a specific domain as opposed to, again, people that can play out of position? They can do almost anything. What is that, you think?
There are a few factors there. There is the safety or the risk, not taking risks. All right, I'm looking for someone who's been doing this specific thing, they've been doing it repeatedly, and they can show results. Get the person do this, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. The other thing is, and I saw it a lot, when you're hiring someone and you see that that person has wider skill set, deeper knowledge or career. Some people feel intimidated, and sometimes intimidated, and sometimes, okay, maybe this person is overqualified. They're gonna get bored with what they're doing, and they're gonna be hard to manage, which is the case sometimes.
Yeah.
I think the experience with you and with Simon was unique in a way that, as you said, the brief was someone, business analyst, data migration, and I didn't fit that brief. I did these things at different stages of my life, but it wasn't the brief. And I think you and Simon were open enough to consider the possibility of other streams that I can support with. And it turned out, hopefully, to be true. And I covered the first bit, got it out of the line. And
True, yeah.
And then I've been doing different things.
I think that's such an important point. I hadn't really think. It's like if you get hired to do the thing, just come and do that really well, and then the next thing can flow. I wonder if maybe I'm sometimes a victim of my own ego. That I know what competency I've got. So if someone hires me to go and do a thing, I wonder if in my mind, I'm already trying to solve the next thing whilst working on this. And it's a really interesting revelation. I think I'm not trying to give false credit here. What I'm hearing from you is you were hired to do a job, and then you focused on that job and did it really well, which then enabled the business to see your potential for the next thing. I think in that, which I really acknowledge as a strength, I think in that what's interesting is if you go and do that thing well, my fear is then you get compartmentalized into that thing, data, in your case, starting in data migration and not all the good shit that you're doing now, right? Which is this business management, coordination, vendor selection, and I think I love that. I really think it's a really important lesson there. So if you're hired to do a thing, do that thing. And then trust the universe to recognize your capability. I think.
Yeah, and also from the beginning, Simon saw that, and I think you saw the same thing, that was the entry point. But there might be other opportunities that I can help with. And it also comes back to the competency of the leadership. It takes a strong leader also to see the value in the people in their team and to promote and push up people they think that they can deliver. It happens sometimes that people don't do this or see that it's better for them to keep everybody in their box and have the spotlight elsewhere.
Yeah.
And it's something that I said to Simon one-on-one is I was lucky with some of my early managers, and I saw Simon doing the same thing, is when these managers saw someone in their team doing a good job, whenever they had a chance to put them in the spotlight, they did. Whenever they had a chance to promote them to senior management, to executives, they did that. They didn't have the fear of, if they get the credit, maybe they will have a bigger focus and maybe this will take away from me. On the opposite completely, they believe that having a stronger team actually promotes them. They didn't see it as I'm being threatened or now it's my ego, which is, I think it's a very important quality to have in a leader.
Do you think as you hire teams that you have that in your mind because of that early coaching or observation? Do you hire people in our position when you're hiring? You think?
Yes, yeah, yeah. It's something I definitely look for, and I remember a few people that I hired that had previous roles that were on the same level or higher than me, and it turned out to be a good thing, luckily, because of their characters. They also knew that at the end of the day, their space now is this. So they worked within that space. They had a lot of value to add, but the lines were not blurry. They had the lines clear in their mind, which is important as well.
So if you're hiring those people that can play out a position, it's important to be clear about what you expect from them, and for them to have the mind. It is a mindset, isn't it? Because I've said this. Sometimes I don't want a company sometimes, and I think I would follow somebody else if I felt I could. I'd follow Andrew, Adam. I'd do exactly what they told me. It just happens to work out that they chose me, which is really wonderful, and I really feel that privilege. They chose me, but sometimes I wish I was just following somebody else. And that's a bit of a boo-hoo, but it's because my ego is I see the benefit of being well led. Like it's a really fun thing to work for a good leader, whether I think I can lead as well, right? And it's a real it's a conundrum that more people are going to be facing, I think, because with aging population and the dependency on immigration to fulfill roles in this country. I mean, we've had it for a long time now, but aging population is just accelerating. I think that leaders are going to have to get more comfortable with hiring people that perhaps have got as much experience as them or more, from other places. I mean, personally, I think I revel in everybody in this company has got more experience than me in the domains that they're in. That's true, right?
Which is great.
Yeah, right. It's terrifying as well, but I love it.
But it's also important for leading is tough. It's not easy, and it takes a lot of experience and competence. Also, being led is something that is not as easy, especially when the competency levels are close. It's important still to understand, as someone who's being led or managed, that your job is to make your team succeed. At the end of the day, there is one person making the final decision. Your job is to make their job easier. So if you have a disagreement or you have a different view, voice it out 100%. Be very clear about why you think things should go that way. But once a decision is made, you support it. As long as, of course, it's not contradicting with your values. But it doesn't help if you go against. If we're now conflicting and if we're fighting, then I'm not helping you. No matter what my value is, my competencies are. If I'm not helping you do your job, we're failing. So it's important to have this balance as well.
Yeah, like once a decision's been made to pursue a particular path, then say your piece, but then do the thing that you've said you're going to do. Yeah. I do think if it's a challenge that I've had over the years. You can think you've agreed something around the table like this, and then someone can leave the room and have a different view of that. And it's something I've had to really get to grips with about being really, because I'm quite open to new experiences, which means I'm not heavy on detail. Back to what we talked about setting up this podcast, right? But I've had to really learn to come to the middle of that and be really explicit with things, because I find you are quite unusual in a good way with our text. It's a source of pride to do a good job. I mean, like almost you would be intrinsically motivated to do it. You don't need extrinsic governance to get you to do it. You're motivated to do that. I find that quite a rare attribute. And maybe it's the type of people that I'm drawn to. I feel like sometimes people that I've hired over the years, and I've been at this for 20 years now, It's amazing how quickly people can deviate from what's been agreed. Oh, and not only just the actions, but the spirit of the engagement, the spirit of how you got into something in the first place. It's a strength. I wonder if you know, one of my biggest motivators is not to let people down. You know, I don't want to let people down. And I wonder if there's a bit of that in you as well. You seem very motivated to do a good job and not let people down. It seems to be a thing.
Yeah, especially if there's a team or a stream dependent on what I'm doing, then yeah, I don't want to fail anyone. Yeah. Your job is to help the team deliver, and at the end of the day, we're all working towards delivering business values. So I already have that motivation for sure. When it gets appreciated, I'm happier.
Yeah, it's a thing, isn't it? Yeah,
it's definitely something that is important as well. But luckily, again, in this case, this engagement, it's been happening and happening quickly, so all good.
Yeah, it's not. It's like to have a job well, to do a job well is good, but to do a job well and have it recognised is even better. It's a real thing that gets me. I've had this advice to let it go in the past, but I struggle with it when I'm doing a good job. When people don't recognise it, not that I need a pat on the back, or when things are going challenging for me, when people forget the good job that you've done previously, my ego kicks up a little bit at that moment. I'm a bit, I think it's probably just a human reaction. But I actually posted a couple of things about this morning. I can't remember, but it's like when someone's successful, other leaders can attribute that to the environment. Oh, it's because we created a good environment. When the individual fails, it's about the individual, not the environment. It's their fault, not the environment's fault. And it's a thing I'm exploring a lot at the moment. Actually, it's about how you, I want to lead well. So that's why I'm in these things right. I want to do a good job of, deeply competent people and provide the best experience I can for them. Sorry, yeah.
No, sir.
I just think many technical people that we have, I'm not speaking for all of them, but many of them haven't had that. Or they've been in an environment which is only about delivery competence, and maybe sometimes there's like it's about who's the best engineer. And I'm not saying that's anyone specifically, or people come back and see that it's about who scores the most goals, they get lauded, or who does the best engineering, they get lauded. But there's something to an ecosystem of competence, and variability in competence is important. And I'm even in this moment, I'm struggling to articulate it because I don't know what it is. When I observe it, and I really mean this, there's a place for everybody, right? There's a role, a job for everybody. And so, it's more a reflection of what I'm trying to work out, I think.
Yeah, it's when it comes to getting credit or getting negative feedback when things are not going well, it's also a byproduct of being a leader. It's when things are going well, it's good. When things are not going well, it's on you. It's you cannot attribute it to the environment because you're leading the environment, so it's on you to get things done properly. That's when someone succeeds in the team, they should get the credit, and they should be put in the spotlight to get that credit. But when things don't go well, it's as the leader you should take the spotlight and take the hit.
Even if it's their fault.
Especially if it's their fault.
I know, right?
Yeah.
When
someone in your team succeeds, it's their success. They get promoted for it. They get the spotlight. If they fail, that's my opinion. As a leader, you should own it. It's on you. In front of the world, in front of the management, it's on you. In the kitchen, you go and deal with it.
Well, for public record, everything that goes wrong in this company is definitely my fault.
Yeah, 100%.
I totally get it. I think sometimes people can think that as a false accountability because the words are different from the sentiment. People say, "Oh, yeah, it's my company, I'm responsible," but really believing that is a different thing, and I do take that on. So good counsel, I think. All right. So. Where do you think that you want to end up? I mean, because you're consulting through us at the moment, and so you're doing this problem solve. Like I posted about Swiss Army knives, and you're one of those. You know, there's like lots of accessories to your capability. So where are you going after this? Do you think? Like, what's the gig that you want to move to? What do you hope?
At the moment, my focus is helping with the transformation of Palin,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a, there's a lot of potentials there, and I think there are a couple of years worth of initiatives and projects that can be delivered there.
Mm-hmm.
The next move, I haven't really considered where the next move would be, which is, I know it's...
But it's so true to your character. Just do this job and do it well, man. It's really great. I mean, it's back to what we said at the beginning. You know, you're focused. You're not trying to overcomplicate it. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but, but it just makes me smile thinking about your focus. That's all.
I see it. Today is, I think, exactly 3 months from the day I started, and we're just getting started. So I think we just now got a better relationship with the business team and more trust into technology. So we're just getting started.
Yeah, got it. If I was to ask for some advice on our company, you've seen it for 3 months. You know, we didn't even get to meet in person till not that long ago, because of just the volume of work that you've been doing, and us as well. So I acknowledge there's some things that could be done better. But when you look at our company as an organisation, what do you think we should double down on, and what do you think we should ditch? If you have a view.
I haven't seen so far anything that I would change, which is I might be surprising, but I haven't. And from the first engagement with the team, if you remember, I had positive feedback, and I said at the time maybe it's too early to be sending this, but we'll see. And it turned out to be true in my opinion. I think you have a winning formula of how you select people and the focus of helping the business in whichever engagement you get in, without having the focus, and I'm sure you have the focus of that because it's part of the business, but your priority number one, as far as I've seen so far, is helping the business. And if by stepping back, you're providing more help, or stepping out of the account, or recommending someone else, I think it's great, and I think it's rare to be doing this. So again, that's a positive thing that I don't think you should change. I don't know how all the business partners. I'm sure you guys are aligned. Otherwise, you wouldn't be doing it the way you're doing it now. There is nothing that I can think of at this stage to say maybe you should change.
I hope that keeps to be the case. I mean, it's like any relationship. The longer you spend in a relationship, you can see gaps, and you either learn to love them for the nuances or learn to resent them. So hopefully we hold on to that. Yeah, no, I think it's a real sentiment. We are a business, and it's that fine line again. I do not believe that all business is good business, and I do not believe that you should pursue everything. And I think that I'm quite proud of the fact that we walk away from a few assignments if it's the wrong leader or the right or whatnot. And that's not from an ego point of view. It's just like it can be all about us. Like, we are not right for them. We're not the right choice. And I know you've heard me say this in the past few months where there's money to be had, and I'm like, it's just they're better off choosing somebody else.
And I've seen it in one of the examples where we tried someone to help with a situation in this account, and it didn't turn out to be the right fit, and immediately your reaction was, if it's not the right fit, it's not the right fit. We didn't really stop on it or try to twist it in a way that would make it work. It was very pragmatic, very straightforward. No, move on, that's it.
Sometimes things I've got rocks in my head, because it's like, well, there's also, so the flip side of that pressure is to create a commercial entity that makes money, that's with 30 people now, that keeps these 30 very good engineers
engaged and
engaged.
pipeline properly. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
That's why I said the partners have to be aligned
Mm.
on the approach, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to do it that way. You would be pushing more for getting opportunities, even if they're not the right fit, or if the company is not the right fit to deliver to the customers. You do this, you might get a short-term win, but if you cannot sustain this, then you come out of the engagement at the end of it with a longer-lasting negative effect.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's a real balance to strike. I mean, I've kind of always believed in it. I think that you know, it's tradition for me that I mention my age in every podcast. I'm 47 because it's my birthday on Monday. Thank you. You know, I'm more determined than ever to do this way, but feel more pressure than ever to you know, make it commercially viable, right? And that's just, you know, life stage and whatnot. So it's a real quandary, right?
And also the market is changing in lots of ways over the last few years, so I wouldn't blame you.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you know, but I've been at, again, 20 years, there's always a headwind or a tailwind or something, as long as you can be consistent and, you know, evolve enough. I think it's one of the reasons I love services, actually, and I like hiring humans who can play our position, because, you know, services, if the next big thing appears and you're smart enough, you can ride that wave. And I think if you hire and you can have this brand of hiring people who can play our position, then whatever the next wave is, they can jump into it. You're not forced. Let's say you're, you know, I'm going to pick a JD Edwards expert, you know, and your background is RPG and JD Edwards, and that's your one trick. You know, the moment that's acquired by PeopleSoft, which was what happened, and then, you know, I mean, this is where I started my career, and then it's something else. It was Oracle, I think, acquired PeopleSoft. I think that was the order. And then all of a sudden, you haven't got JD Edwards and RPG, and then PeopleSoft. Like, it's sort of evolved, and that's when you have, you know, those are challenges when you have someone who can only do that thing. So again, that's why I quite like services, and I like having this agile organization. I don't mean that we're, you know, sounding agile, but you know, like the true meaning of the word. It's
flexibility.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a better word. Yeah. Yeah, it really has me thinking about, you know, us and you and how we lock down this model, so we can keep on growing this sort of flexible, using your word, business. You know, so all right. So if people wanted to, in our business, reach out to you and have a conversation, I think I know, you know, like 6 or 7 of the engineers already, the technical people. Like, what would people reach out to you for a conversation on? Like, what are you interested in participating in, community-wise or business-wise? What's on your mind there?
I'm very approachable, so whatever the topic that someone would be interested in discussing, whether it's program management, transformation, telecom, because I've worked for a long time in that area, I'm open to discussions. So yeah. And I'm generous with my time when someone needs something. So.
Yeah, lovely. The other thing, of course, is they should talk to you about your health regime and your brand ambassadorness for My Muscle Chef. 15 kilos, unbelievable. It's 15?
Yeah.
Dude, how do you feel?
Feel good. Yeah.
15 kilos in 3 months, or
4 months.
Yeah, right. Wow.
Yeah, I took a break in November, so I had a travel, went to Thailand. I used to do mixed martial arts, so I went to Thailand for a Muay Thai camp for a month. Everything is clean, eating clean, training hard, sleeping well, everything is good. And then I went to New York to see my daughter. That was a month of indulging in everything. And it continued when I came back to Australia. So I had to stop. So stop counting calories, going by the book. Managed to cut it very quickly.
Yeah, nice. Did you, you know, so to complement the diet around My Muscle Chef, you know, you're still in your Muay Thai, your mixed martial arts competing, so you're still training. Have you given up alcohol as well? I mean, what's the whole ecosystem?
I was never an alcoholist, so
okay, so you never drink.
Very lucky.
Yeah,
Very
right.
lucky.
I think that's. I think I'm doing too much entertaining at the moment.
Yeah.
So over the years, I mean, I don't do Muay Thai, but I have done Jiu-Jitsu, Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, a little bit of Brazilian, but nothing too extensive. Jason upstairs, he was my Jiu-Jitsu teacher actually, and now he works on us. He's a bit of a weapon. He's done everything. He's tried from a martial arts perspective. And I think he was just saying to me he's now going to go for his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but he teaches Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. He's a sensei in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu.
Black belt and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's a killer.
Yeah, he's also 6'4" and 115 kilos. You know, you don't want to get into not close range. You want to do a punch and run.
No.
Yeah. So we were just. It's another theme that he and I were grappling a few years back, and I managed to break a rib in something.
Your rib or his?
My rib. Yeah. He was definitely winning the fight, and I probably strained myself. Yeah. But it's funny because now my kids are 10 and 8. The daughter's the eldest and the son's the youngest. I have in mind that I want them to have that discipline, you know. I think it's good for kids to get into. So I just find it fascinating that you've been into mixed martial arts. So you do Muay Thai and other forms as well?
I did lots of things. I started with Aikido.
Okay.
Did this for a couple of years and then boxing for a few years, then kickboxing, then Muay Thai, then mixed martial arts, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Did some Krav Maga. Did lots of
Krav Maga as well, yeah.
But again, generalist.
Yeah, right.
Did a few of them. But coming back to the ego in general, martial arts in general, and I think Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specifically, humbles you. So Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you go in every day, you train, and you get strangled every day. So someone is going to tap you out. And it happens a lot. And you learn that someone is better than you. It's just, it is what it is. And your focus gets turned into how can I be better? Not better than everyone, just better. So I think it's a very good discipline and a good start especially for kids. To learn this and to have this sense also of community and being part of something that develops them.
Well, you can kick my arse both physically if we get on the mat, but also
you're a big guy.
No, but I have lack of skill. You can't depend on your weight for these things. But I was talking to my friend Frank Cooley, who sat opposite me here where you are, and he was one of the guys that dragged me back into this world after my misadventures, and I was there for 5 years. And you know, there's a long story which I won't go into here, but Frank was like, "Man, you got to get back," you know, which is how ThunderLabs was really born. It was the genesis of a friend that I trust. And then when he sat here recently, so we're 2 or 3 years in now after this, and he's now gone back to his martial arts to find that. Because he has a similar journey to me, but then optimizing his own performance and how good he feels fighting again. Not because he's a fighter, he's a good guy. He's back on that. I think he was like world champion taekwondo or something like that. You know, lightweight. He's not very tall, but muscular. And now he's going crazy at BJJ. But it's just at that singular focus. Now the reason I say this about you kicking my arse is because I really need it. You know, I've competed in sport on and off all of my life at a reasonable level. I never got really good at jiu-jitsu, to be honest. I mean, typical of me, if I start doing something, I'm like, well, I'll go 5 times a week because then, you know, I'll know something. I also do research on YouTube and all this other stuff. But I've been in a bit of a lull because my 100% attention has been on this and the kids and my partner, but 100%, which means that my attention on sport has waned a little bit. But I need to really bring it back because it's not like, I don't think it will take my time. I think it will optimize my performance, and it's really a thing. So I didn't know that about you, about martial arts, and there's a few in our business that you know now that'll be another thing that you'll connect over, and we're going to leave here straight away and talk to Jason.
Go to the mat.
Yeah, I'm going to get one put in this room so we can you know settle any disputes that way. Man, I'm really grateful that you're part of the family, Amir. It's really fun, and I think that Palion and beyond will be interesting for us. So thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure so far.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure. Yeah.
It only gets better. It's
Yeah,
like a pleasure.
I'm sure.
It's like a pleasure cruise, and we're only at the first port.